Sidney Slater, Howard Thompson, Bill Winters, and myself. And we've got Chairman Fry here. So, Sheriff, with that, we'll approve first of all, I'd like to have a motion to approve the agenda. Cindy made the motion, Miss Slater, rather. Mr. Thompson with a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
With that passed, we'll got on the agenda. Everybody should have one in front of you. I'll turn it over to the sheriff. We got two things on the agenda that he's going to be talking about, or his people's going to be talking about today. So, Sheriff, if you'd like to introduce your people, then we'll go from there.
Yeah, let me get started by saying that we've started paying a lot of attention to grants. The first one we'll talk about is going to be by Zach Coggins are here. We jumped early when the Governor Lee put the monies out across the state to different counties, municipalities. I appointed a committee of 5 people to look at our needs within the sheriff's office and to identify what we could do with the monies. I think it was $288,000 Bradley County received through Governor Lee's violent crime intervention grant. So they've laid it out. They got ours in. I'll tell you, I saw the grant personally, pretty sharp. Got it in immediately. I knew they were reviewing it, and then they have approved it. Probably one of the first that got approved in the state. So Zach Pike is here. He will lay out, I believe, start laying out where we're going with the grant and what we need to do as far as, now I'll let y'all take it as to how we need to get it approved and what we need to do in the future. Zach?
Morning, Commissioners. You may remember in the fall of 22, we laid out a preliminary plan of what we were looking at purchasing with these funds. We met at the Sheriff's Office for the Law Enforcement Committee meeting. We kind of had an idea, but we didn't have things finalized. So as we go through this, I'm just going to go over what each item is, what it cost, and then a yearly spending breakdown. If you have any questions throughout, feel free to interrupt me. I'll be happy to entertain those questions and answer them the best that I can. So again, this is the Violent Crime Intervention Fund. It is going to be funded from 2023 to 2025. You may also see it be shortened to the VCIF. The state's been calling it the VCIF grant, just to shorten its name. So it's a formula-based grant based on the number of violent crimes that occurred in Bradley County between 2019 and 2021. As you can see, this is a headline that Governor Lee announced this funding on October the 11th, 2022, that he was going to provide $100 million split over local law enforcement agencies across the state of Tennessee, counties and cities. Bradley County was awarded $288,065 part of the formula that they set up. These funds can be used to prevent and investigate violent crimes in our area and regionally. So the items that we're looking to purchase. First one is 30 in-car patrol cameras. The reason for that is we have several in-car cameras that are discontinued models that no longer have parts made for them. And we also have about 8 cars that don't have them in them at all. So these 30 will help us refurbish or refresh our ones that are discontinued models, and also add ones to the cars that don't have any cameras in them at all. Next is a Faro 3D 360 crime scene scanner. What this does is enhances photography, makes crime scenes into a 3D model. It can measure for us, it can map the entire crime scene and makes an interactive model of those crime scenes, and also just enhances that with our photography in a crime scene. Next is 3 drones. We would like to purchase 3 drones that have thermal or FLIR imaging capability. You may have seen the Hamilton County drone that located the 15-year-old juvenile in the woods when the time was short and they needed something fast. So that's a scenario that we would like to be able to utilize these drones for. We're looking to purchase 3 of those. Next will be a Clear software. What Clear software does is take all public endpoints of information, puts them into one dashboard where investigators can quickly locate information about potential suspects who may be from here, or even more so people who are not from here that we don't have as much information on when we're trying to identify and conduct an investigation. Next is PinLink PLX software. It will be used by investigators to organize cell phone forensic data and any possible threats to the public that may be on social media that we can have those organized into one place. The PinLink software will need a server and storage upgrade, which is our next purchase. That's a storage device and also memory for one of our servers. to house a lot of the information and data from the 3D crime scene scanner, from the PinLink PLX software, and any drone footage that we could have, we needed storage for it. So that solution of the server and storage upgrade will give us a solution for 3 of those other products to be able to go into. The last one is some training room upgrades. We have a North training room. Some of you may have visited it. Some of you may have not. The North training room, we just wanted to update, make a more interactive experience for people to come down and have training, regional training at our place with violent crime instructors to come in. So we're looking to purchase 2 75-inch TVs, 2 55-inch TVs, and 20 72 by 18 tables. Why so specific? The tables are narrow where we can fit more people in there comfortably during the training, the violent crime training conducted at the North Training Room. So each of these things, I can show you the value of each of these that are being spent. 30 ProVision car cameras are a little bit over $100,000. The Faro 3D crime scene scanner itself is $75,000 and some change. The drones will cost us approximately $30,000. PinLink software over 3 years will cost us $16,000 and some change. The Clear software will be $29,548 over 3 years. And the modular storage array and server upgrade will be $31,105. And the training room upgrades will be $3,860 for a total of $287,734. That's $331 under what we were awarded. So I tried to optimize the amount of money that we had to get as close, but not get too close, because some of this stuff could go up $50 a little bit, and I wanted to give us a little bit of room without wasting any. So $331 is the difference that we're to the good. So I want to show you our year spending. This grant, I received my award letter on February the 28th of 2023. They originally said that this grant was going to be funded starting in March 1st. I knew that that was going to put us in a bind, and during that preliminary meeting with the law enforcement committee, the mayor came up to me after and he said, you know, that's at the end of a budget year. This is a reimbursement grant, no match, by the way. So he told me at the beginning, hey, we can't do a lot of money towards the end. Maybe towards the first of the year we could look at that. So we tried to purchase a small amount from March 1st to June 30th, which is $56,430. That would be the training room upgrades, the 2 softwares, and the server upgrade for a total, like I said, of $56,430. Beginning in July 1, fiscal year 2024, we would be looking at purchasing the 30 in-car cameras, the 3D crime scene scanner, the 3 drones, and the PinLink and Clear software. And then in year 3, we would only be purchasing the PinLink and Clear software. Reoccurring cost after fiscal year 2025. The PinLink software would be $2,568 per year. The Clear investigative software would be $11,383. But I just want to say on that PinLink software amount, that's based on 115 users. We're going to be watching the usage of this software over the next 3 years. And if we see that only 40 people are using it, we're most certainly not going to want to pay for 115 people. So that cost could be significantly high depending on our usage. Because that software can be used for many of the divisions in the sheriff's office, civil service, criminal investigations, patrol, school resource officers. It can be used for many, many different divisions in the sheriff's office. So we started high with all of our people to be able to use it, but we want to revisit that after year 3 to see the usage and the optimization of that. We don't want to certainly pay for 115 if only 30 or 40 people are actually using it. So that's all of that one. So the impact of this funding is just purchasing products for us that I have vetted throughout the years. As my time as an investigator, many of these products I vetted, but we just didn't have the funds for. So this funding is going to give us these products, as you can see, are kind of expensive, but will rapidly increase the efficiency of investigators and patrol, school resource officers, everyone at the sheriff's office. Like I said, this would normally be unattainable, but this funding is going to allow us to make these purchases. Any questions?
Zach, could you go back to your slide that shows the timeline, that one? So it's all reimbursable? We spend the money up front and then you get reimbursed?
Yes, ma'am. We've actually asked them how fast the reimbursements would be, and they've assured me that every month.
So why would we wait to 2025 for the $11,443?
That is actually a subscription. So I'm buying that all 3 years. So in my budget, it's split up. So in year 1, I'm buying Clear and PinLink. Year 2, I'm buying it again. In year 3, I'm buying it again because it's actually subscription.
Okay, so in year 3, you're just paying for the service.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Explain that pin link a little bit more for me, would you? I've seen it operate, I think, on Patrol Live, but
So I can tell you that PenLink has, the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation has been about a 25 or 30-year customer of PenLink. And what it does is when you have crimes that occur in certain areas, there may be cell phone forensics or cell tower information, or you may have a suspect's phone left at a crime scene or whatever, and there's potential data on there that a search warrant is obtained. And you take that data, and what it does is it analyzes it for you, organizes it all out for you, to where you can see a timeline of what occurred during a certain time frame. It takes a lot of the work that we would spend numerous hours, that investigators would spend hours conducting, and it does it for you.
and the drones, what kind of training or how much are we looking at to train officers to use the drone?
We want to conduct it in-house, so we totally don't have it ready yet, but our plan is to have a drone pilot team. We would like to have 2 deputies per shift that can have a drone up within 4 or 5 minutes is the plan. I'm actually an FAA certified drone pilot myself, so this is something that I take pride in, because these things can be very useful for us, especially when the public is at risk or it's a public safety matter. These things can aid us with locating a suspect where we don't have to send a deputy in to meet them face to face, or if it's a person who's in crisis, we don't have to send a deputy in initially to meet them face to face. They can communicate 2 ways with people. They will also, like I said, have thermal imaging where you can see things at night that we couldn't see with our naked eye. They can help search for juveniles who may have walked off from home, elderly folks who may have walked off from home, and things of that nature, and that would be our intention to use those for that.
Collins?
That be more of a headed sheriff's office. I know that technology, that's really aspect that they were going to hire staff that type of technology.
Well, I do think that I've had several people interested reach out to me at the sheriff's office, and it can't be just anybody. So I would like to talk to those people who are interested. I've spoke with the sheriff briefly about this. I want to interview people who have the knack for technology that can possibly use this to our benefit. But I think we have a lot of people internally as we speak that if we just have a little bit of guidance and some training, I think they'll impress us all.
Yes, Mr. Winters.
So what it does is it goes on a tripod. It's very interesting, and I could show you a video. I just can't pull it up at the time, but it goes on a tripod, and you hit a button, and that thing starts scanning every part of a room. You could set it right here. It would scan this entire commission room, and it would be a 3D model that you could scroll around, look around, and you can actually use your photographs to enhance. So an example, if I was scanning right here, but I had a close-in photo of that water bottle sitting in front of you, I could click that. It would show the water bottle up. The drones also have the capability, if it's a large outside crime scene, we can incorporate that drone footage into the software of this crime scene scanner to make it even larger. So the one we're looking at purchasing, I think it will shoot 150 yards. It will scan that much. It's the middle grade. It wasn't the smallest one, wasn't the biggest one, but it will shoot approximately and analyze a 150-yard crime scene.
Any other questions? Is there a possibility we get a hard copy of this
Yes, sir.
for the committee?
Sir.
I think it'd be useful to have to look at. Blake, you have anything?
Just real quick, can you go back over how you're gonna budget this?
So-
We're in the 22-23 budget, and you got your budget request coming in a couple of weeks.
Yes, sir. So at the end of this year, I would look to be spending to get reimbursed $56,430
End of this budget year.
before July
June 30th.
1st, before June 30th. Yes, sir. We tried to keep it under 60,000. So 56,430 was about as close as I could get to that, because the other purchases are much larger.
So you're gonna spend, right now, before June 30th of this year, you're gonna spend under 60,000
That's my intention. Yes,
out
sir.
of your, okay,
Yes, sir.
and then get reimbursed.
Yes, sir.
All
And,
right.
and they've assured me that it's going to be every month that I can turn one in. We'll see how that goes. But here's where we're at on this. They're kind of putting me in a bind, because this was supposed to be funded March 1st. Although I have an approval letter sent to me from the state of Tennessee, I'm still awaiting on the contract as far as the grant goes. They are working on the contract, and they're supposed to be emailing it to me at any time.
Okay, so that's the 22-23. Then you get into the 23-24. Then you can purchase everything else that you want,
Yes, sir.
Right.
Except for year 3, sir. Then year
except for
3.
your subscription stuff.
Yes, sir.
Is there any way you can prepay for all that stuff?
I can
I mean,
speak
a
with
lot
them.
of vendors will go and you say, I'll pay for 3 years subscription right now and go ahead and absorb the cost.
I can ask them about that.
Mm.
I probably would have to do some amendments to the grant because my budget is spread out over those 3 years. So I want to just get this contract. I might be able to move it to year 2, but what I don't want to do is, since they haven't confirmed with me and sent my contract, I don't want to make this last any longer because some of this stuff, such as the modular storage array, sometimes we can't get our hands on those as rapidly as we need to, and we need to make that purchase probably as fast as we can.
The only benefit, well, not the only benefit, one of the benefits was you would lock in the price. And
Yes, sir. Well,
Yeah.
the price will be locked in over that time.
so that's in
But
the
at the end of
contract.
that 3 years, I'm gonna bump up to that one slide that talks about
20.
it. They have in their paperwork already told me that every year the price is gonna go up 5%. So the amount they're going up, that they're already putting that in. So when I put that cost in there, that has the 5% increase from the previous year already.
Yes.
So that would be the first year. But that's based on 115 users. Like I said, if we only have 40
Yeah,
people
so you
using
get
it,
the, you get the
we will try to
trust.
lower it. Yes, sir.
So, at this point in time, any other questions? Yes, Mr. Winters?
How much training will you have to do as team with the team, and how will you organize? Will every person that's involved in an investigation be trained enough that they can do all of this, or are you going to have teams, or how do you see?
We would probably have teams, the 3D crime scene scanner.
Yeah,
We would probably have one person in forensics and maybe another detective who's able to run this device. The
mhm.
training is included with that purchase, by the way.
Okay.
So that will train the people, not just the product.
Ms. Slater?
Will any of these items have to go out for bid?
The only one that I can see is the drones. As you saw, the MSA, the modular storage array, and the memory upgrade were over 25,000, but that will be through a company who has a state contract.
Any other questions? At this point in time, Sheriff, you have anything else? Thank you.
Thought it was pretty sharp. I think it's a good money, a good, puts us ahead in technology or gets us trending that way. The drones, I've actually said that I kind of want to follow Hamilton County's lead as to they have a truck which is assigned to drones. We have one sitting at the garage that's been used in the past. I can probably use, fix it up, be sharp, be able to respond. And if put yourself in a position, if your 3 or 4 year old grandchild is out in the woods missing, you want the best capabilities you can get, try to find them. So I think we're there. I think we move ahead and work with the budget. And if we get reimbursed in 30 days, that'd be wonderful. We'll have to try that.
Great.
But that was good. The next is Zach's going to go over a grant. Camille couldn't be here today. The lady that took the grant job. This is actually her first grant, which she put in. She's excited about, and she got it returned and was accepted for this grant. And he'll tell you what it's about.
As the sheriff said, as the sheriff said, Camille McGill, our grant facilitator, has been at the sheriff's office just a few months, applied for and was awarded this grant, very short time. And I'm extremely proud of the work that she done on this. It's the ELC Confinement Facilities Grant, and I understand why they use letters because ELC stands for Epidemiology and Laboratory Capacity. So when she told me that, I said, what's ELC stand for? I need to put it in the presentation. She said, well, I'll just bring it to you. So it's an overview of grant funds needed for equipment within the jail and the workhouse, and it's funded through the Tennessee Department of Health. So we were awarded, Camille actually turned in her application for the items I'll show you just shortly, and it totaled $71,000. And they called her and said, we'll give you $72,000, because sometimes these things do go up, as we know, beginning at the start of a year, items could go up in cost. So these funds are used to address the COVID-19 pandemic within confinement facilities. So this is the spending for this grant that we intend to make these purchases. 15 Medify air purifiers. Those total up to almost $16,000. An industrial 100-pound washing machine, which will cost approximately $26,120. Inmate uniforms, 13,930. And you say, they cost that much? Well, that's 150 smalls, 150 mediums, 150 larges, 150 extra larges, and 100 2XL uniforms. So it's quite a bit of uniforms inside the jail. And 150 inmate mattresses that would total $14,985 for a total of $71,032. This is a no match. It is also a reimbursement grant. This funding will expire on June 31st of 2024. So between now and then, we can make those purchases for these items inside the jail. And that's pretty much it in a nutshell. Any questions from anyone?
No questions on that either? That sounds good. That's,
Thank you all.
Again, free money, I think is really good. And we'll just have to work with Cassandra and work with everybody so we get the finances right, whatever needs to be approved and whatever needs to be run by finance, filing. So we're all on.
so at this point, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, at this point in time, what do you think this committee needs to recommend? You want us to recommend?
I would ask that you recommend moving forward, with finance, working with finance to, find the monies to make sure we have, I think it's important to me to make sure we distinguish the grants themselves. I don't know whether we can have a line for each grant, make sure we in and out the monies, right, to keep up with it, so we're all on the same page, to make sure we're getting reimbursed in a timely manner, and make sure what we spend, we're getting back. So if you keep them individualized and in a line for each grant, I think grant we get have its own line. And recommend that to finance.
Go ahead.
Hey, Sheriff, real quick. So these items that you are earmarking to purchase with these two grants, do you have to get approval from Nashville or someone else that, okay, drones is an okay item? Kind of like how we, in the ARP money, we had to get pre-approval in the way so that we never spent money on something that wasn't an okayed item.
There are some allowables that we knew up front, but what I've been told from them is they're not even going to visit with drones whether or not. Now,
I was just using that as an example, all the things that you were purchasing.
but there's something I do need to speak to that. There's actually a bill in the legislature that any drone that doesn't match the NDAA certification, which is the National Defense Authorization Act, which means a drone can't be purchased from, example, China, to be used by a law enforcement agency. That is a bill that is going through right now. Don't know if it will be passed. But we will be looking at those drones that are NDAA compliant to meet that regulation.
So there's no risk, as much as possible, that you purchase something and they come back and say, "Oh, that's not covered."
Well, I'm not going to make a purchase, but I'm going to have them tell me that it's going to be covered before I make a purchase.
Thanks.
So do we have can we have a recommendation to move this on up to these two grants, to move this to finance to? Let me ask one other question to the sheriff. What kind of time frame are we looking at? Is this something that has to be done fairly quick, or do we have a little leeway here?
I think as soon as we get the contract, and we're still waiting on them to send us the contract back, then we can let y'all know whatever we need to do as far as finance and communicate with finance then immediately. So we don't know the time. Hopefully it'll come today. But we'll see. We know we got the acceptance letter. We know we've been accepted because I think we got it in right immediately, had it ready to go. So we're still waiting on them to send us the contract back so we can.
Yes, Ms. Slater?
So is there really anything that we have to recommend since these are grants?
Well, the matching grant.
They're not matching. They're
well,
reimbursing.
not the matching, but the first one that, don't we have to pay the money up front? Go ahead.
All finance. Finance
Yeah, so we don't have to recommend these go to finance or anything like.
What I was gonna follow up, does the full commission need to affirm this? Do we need to send that to the full commission, or are you ready to move on?
Well, I think we will eventually, when we get all the facts and figures together and they get their contract in. I think we'll have to bring it to the whole, that's why I was asking
Yeah.
about a time frame. I didn't know how fast you need commission approval to move on.
If I get that contract, I will know more, and obviously get it to the mayor. Once I get that contract here, I will know more about spending, and as soon as it's available, I need to spend, like I said, on that, the server and storage devices. I need to purchase those just as quick as possible, because I need to have it in my building by June 30th in order to use that year one funding, and if it's not in the building by June 30th, I will lose that funding for year.
What we're gonna do is a budget amendment. We'll do a budget amendment for the 56, whatever, 56,000. As soon as we get it. As soon as we get the contract. Make sure we get the contract first.
So you do your amendment after you get the contract, so.
So we'll do a budget amendment for the first year's money immediately. But I think we really got to move first, because it did kind of put us behind a little bit, but it's free money. And,
Right.
and we can get started on the three-year program.
So at this point in time, I guess best thing we can do is just wait till y'all get the contract and we'll take it to finance from there. And, 'cause finance just meets once a month. That's why I was asking about time frame. We need to,
Yeah, as soon as we can get it in, and hopefully we can get it back and get it up to get it done. Hopefully.
Mr. Blake.
Finance can meet,
That's what I was getting ready to say,
a
could we
special
meet
call if we need to.
a special
I don't wanna
meeting?
hold you up any more than.
Sure. I just think we gotta take advantage of it, and we're waiting on them kinda right now. Because we got everything done. I can't ask them to do any more. I think they've really done an exceptional job on this grant, getting it together. I think we shined across the state. I think we shined with Office of Criminal Justice Programs when they got our grant.
So at this point in time, probably we just wait to hear from you on the contract, and as soon as we get that, then, Mr. Blake, if we don't have something, we'll call a meeting and move from there. Is that okay with the committee?
Sure.
Move in that direction? Thank you. Moving on to, do we have anything else, Sheriff? I think
Accreditation.
item B was jail accreditation.
Yeah, jail accreditation, Amber's here. I'll tell you, this started probably in 22. We were notified, and I actually got a call from, the first I'd heard about it was a call from Mylan Blake. He was at the county commissioners meeting, I think, when TCI presented, you can get more money for this, and make sure you get accredited or jail accredited, get on it. So my folks started to work on it probably over a year ago. Megan Messias Bales actually started before she left, started putting together its tier one for accreditation of the county jails state. I think there have been 5 so far that have been accredited. I think we were number 6. And so I went to Nashville the other day after they come in and finally done their last inspection. And so our jail was accredited. And I got the certificate and all the hard work that they had to put into it. It was astronomical. I went back and forth a little bit with TCI because I thought this, and they would send different inspectors. But we got it done. It's done. So it's the first time that I remember the jail being accredited by the state of Tennessee. I think it's supposed to come with some value as to maybe more money at some point in time for state inmates that you keep. So a few more dollars anyway, $2 or $3 more. I think it's 3. And I'm not sure they're divvying that out yet, but I think that's the way they sold it. Might check with Commissioner Blake. He was there. I don't know what all was said, but thought it was $3 for tier 1. We'll see where we go, but I think it will come eventually. But I think it's a good thing that the jail was accredited. Everybody works so hard. I'm gonna let Amber tell you exactly what it has to do with. Amber McConnell.
He wrapped it up in a nutshell. I don't know what else to talk about. So Tier 1, TCI announced it in April of 2022. And when you hear that, you're like, well, what does that mean? It was an accreditation where there was 2 steps. You could do Tier 1 or Tier 2. and it's pretty much standards or rules that local jails could voluntarily do. And in return for that, the local jails could get paid $3 per state inmate per day more. So we applied June 14th of last year. There's 25 standards. The first 5 are mandatory. I'm not going to go into details with those because they're and then the other 20, the jails could pick 17 of those. They're optional. We actually picked 18 just to be covered in case one of them fell off. So on February 27th, we actually had our audit and we passed. Yay! And Sheriff Steve Lossity actually went to Nashville and got it for us, our certification. I have it with us today, and a lot of officers have worked really, really hard for this. It's a good accreditation because it helps our officers grow and be better, but it also focuses on the inmates rehabilitating so that when they go back out into society, they won't be more likely to reoffend. That's really the goal of the program, is so that we can help them not come back. And that's the accreditation. Any questions?
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Winters?
could you give us an example or two what you do in the jail for inmates be encouraged not to come back? What type of things do you do?
Yes, so
To-
the accreditation really focuses on the programs.
Yeah.
We have an ample.
Yeah.
He is. We have an ample amount of programs at our facility. It's not just GED. We have positive parenting. We have Alcohol Anonymous, French. We just, it's various through the month. Gene Cassius is our program manager, and he has a passion for doing that. So that's what we try to do. If they come in, we'll assess them. Obviously, we wouldn't put someone who's a drug addict in Alcohol Anonymous, and that's why we do the assessment to see what the problem is and put them in a program that will help them.
Great. Thank you.
Any other questions? Sheriff, I think it'd be good if you get up front with her and have a picture made that you can see it better for the banner.
Let me read the Corrections Institute Awards accreditation to Bradley County Justice Center for attainment of professional standards.
Super.
I think we are the number 6 county to get this done.
We are. We're number 6. We're the 6th county in the state, the 11th facility in the state. So we're very proud of that.
Very nice, very nice. Won't you step up front and we'll get you. Anyway, Thank you, congratulations again. That's a great honor, Sheriff. You have anything, how about giving us an update on the bids or whatever on the, air conditioning and roofing and stuff?
Sent to the mayor's office, and, they've been sent to the mayor's office. Whether they've been notified yet or not, I don't know. But they have been broke down, tried to figure out, I think, both the lease. And so they've been submitted to the mayor's office, whether they've announced, or he's brought it yet, I don't know. I don't know where we're at. I know we looked over and opened. Adam was there at the opening. Made him to the mayor's office.
Adam, all the mayor's office. At this point in time, do you have any idea when he's gonna bring those forth,
Announce the winners
announce or whatever?
and the cost.
We just received them, I think, Thursday or Friday. So we haven't fully reviewed them yet, but we will. So I would anticipate something within the next couple of weeks.
Sheriff, you got anything else?
No.
Any other business that we need to discuss at this point in
No,
time?
I think one of the things that I come before the commission on was jail and the population. We've kind of got those under control. Communicating with the judges, and a lot of people have worked with me, maybe behind the scenes, to make sure that we work on those numbers, put people in jail that really need to be in jail. And on the other hand, pay attention to that. Not sure that over the years, as time goes on, everybody likes to spend money, but look at building another pod somewhere down the road. The county's not going to go down in size. I think it's going to go up. Forecasting where we need to be. So I think there's a place to build another pod someday, and we probably need to be looking ahead to that. Something that maybe this create or corporate finance, whatever. Where do we need to? I think that's our hurdle we're going to have to get over.
Mr. Howard?
How many inmates we have there now?
500 this morning. 496 this morning at a 510 bed.
496.
496.
And
Yes, and I think it got corrected as far as Lori should be getting email to make sure. I thought it was set up, and then I started forwarding them to her myself. They bounced back on the weekend, so she'll get the numbers, and she can distribute those to all and keep up with it.
are we staying pretty steady?
Yes,
at
I think we're
maximum?
staying steady. I always watch it. I look at it every morning to make sure, and then I communicate with the judges or DA's office to make sure, and I know they're paying attention to it as well. That's all I can ask.
Mhm.
You've got to put the bad guys in jail, the ones that need to go. So if we go over, I guess I worry about it a whole lot. Got to balance it out, force the law, put the bad guys in jail, and also the liability on this side as well. And I try to balance.
Sure.
How about any update on hiring officers and so forth? I know you way down.
Yes, and I have a plan by myself for the corrections division, and I've got to get into retention, keeping those people. So I've got a plan that I'm thinking about myself that I may talk to my folks about when we leave here. And if I could fill half of those positions, I'll leave you with that. Maybe I can move forward. So if I put 15 of those positions on hold and give some incentive, retention incentive to people, as well as being able to hire some people, maybe do better. Maybe I can maneuver things around myself with a guarantee putting those positions back later. I've got to keep an open mind myself to try to get better as we go. I'm going to try to do just that till budget time, and then I will submit a proposal, which I think is really going to be realistic at budget time. And I think it's going to benefit everybody, you, me, and this entire county, working together and talking to the mayor, trying to come up with a reasonable plan that I believe pass for the future of all employees of the Bradley County.
Thank you, Sheriff. Any other questions,
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Thompson?
One other thing, Sheriff, we were talking about, I was talking to you the other day about overcrowding in the jail. And, you know, several years ago, how long we had that jail? 15, 20 years?
That's since 2004.
So, we know what we had before we went in there and how many prisoners we had before we went in there, and we thought that would be enough to last us forever. But it hadn't. It's got to the point that we're going to have to start thinking about what we're going to do about the situation, because you can't continually stay overcrowded every day. A good shift. So that's something I think that we need to keep in the back of our mind, and at some point or another we're going to have to expand, and we know that. So it's not a good thing to talk about, spending money, but it's something as the county grows, we're going to think about.
I think it's something you don't wait too late to start looking at. And I think we're there now that we probably need to start talking. Not saying we have the money to spend, but what I'm saying is we can be looking, seeing what we need to do in 2 years or 3 years down the road. Where do we need to be? If we wait too late and it sneaks up on us, it could put us in a real bind.
Mr. Chairman, are the ankle bracelets, monitors, and misdemeanor probation helping some to relieve some of the overcrowded, or is there a backlog of that should be happening? Where are we with that?
I don't see any activity.
To have the ankle monitors put on. Other than that, I've not been involved in anything with ankle.
So what does it cost for an ankle monitor?
I do not know the exact number.
So they're just leasing, basically.
I would probably
leasing.
say between 70.
Okay.
I believe that's right. I may be wrong.
So how many are still pending, you
I only
think?
have one that I know of.
You only have one that's pending.
One person that's been in there, I know
Yeah.
now for about 2 months.
At one point, we had a pretty large number of misdemeanor, didn't we? Okay.
Right now, I don't see a lot of ankle monitor use at all.
Okay. Thanks.
You don't see anybody pushing it. It comes through misdemeanor probation and assigned by the judges, and whatever deal they got worked out, that involved the sheriff's office, they send after them. So, don't know about the ankle bracelets. I wish they would use them more, personally. And you get into citations on small misdemeanors, and they say, Sheriff, you can cite them out. Well, it comes into play of getting the warrants issued, and it's because you still got to swear before. And if a guy works night shift 12 hours, he doesn't have anybody available to him. Really, it's tough right there. As far as the citations themselves, because you got to issue a citation, then go. There's other steps you have to go through. So everybody working together on that end too, because it's not just as easy as a city court just to issue a citation. The state court where you still have to issue the warrant. So that's the steps you have to cover.
Are there still many nonviolent offenders in the jail that could be using,
I personally don't have the breakdown
Yeah,
today, but
right.
I looked, and there's a lot of misdemeanors awaiting trial.
Right.
There's a lot there that were there, and I'm going, our misdemeanor probation violation, I believe everybody needs to pay their way.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure if they owe $300, I need to keep them in jail. I think there's other avenues as to, you see those numbers going up, just using common sense and trying to come up with a reasonable approach. Some people just ain't going to pay. I know they're going to end up back in jail, but we need to arrest those people.
Thanks.
But the ankle brace is strictly up to the judges, though, isn't it?
It is up to judges, and they go through misdemeanor probation.
Right.
They're issued out of.
So I think that's an area that the committee may want to start looking into a little more and see if we can expedite that a little bit. Yes, Mr. Howard Thompson?
How's our workhouse working out?
The last count I had, we had 15 15 people going after jobs. It's tough. I'll just be honest. I mean, is it working out? We got 15 people. We got 100 beds, but you know, you've got a lot of inmates, and you try to balance that out. But the workhouse has actually got a lot of inmates, state inmates, or misdemeanor inmates in it. So if you got 15 going out, you still have what, 5 are not dedicated to actual workhouse inmates. So right now, it would be safe to say that most of it's jail. Most of it is jail inmates occupying those beds. Because you got to understand, that's 100 beds over there, whereas in the jail it's only 490, 410, and then go for workhouse. You're talking total workhouse and jail of 5.
So we're using the jail for, or the workhouse for the count
Yeah,
also.
you move. Yes, it's connected. It's part of the facility.
Mhm.
Yes.
Do I understand to say that the workhouse has got 100 beds and only 15 of them being used, or are you using all of
No,
them
we
too?
have to use them all.
Yeah,
We have
okay.
to use all. That's inclusive of the 510 bed facility is a combined number of the jail and the workhouse. 100 are dedicated on the workhouse side, the new portion.
Before the committee? Go ahead.
Inmates, from the workhouse, working for the county, say the road department. Do they have to pay just like any other workhouse?
Yes, it would have to be if they're hired. And my recommendation was, if you want to hire people from the workhouse that are available, that might make you good employees, and you know they're going to be to work. And then if they are good employees, entertain hiring down the road. Permanent employees, they're having trouble hiring people as well, which a lot of people are. And I think that would be the way to go. As far as misdemeanor inmates that will pass our test as far as getting to be out, we struggle. I have to get people to keep up the litter grants, pick us up as much paper as we can. I got to have kitchen workers. I've got to have things to do within our facility. I can use some of those state in, a lot of those. So we struggle sometimes. Plus, I come in one morning and I went to the kitchen and asked where all the inmate paper was. Or if they quit when they're in jail? I don't understand how that works. But then I would just went over, lined them up, and put them back in general population, because they're not going to get to stay in the workhouse on that side, which is more of a dorm work. But it's a different animal today.
Any other business to bring before the committee? If not, thank you, Sheriff, and thank you for the presentation.